back to the Bouk and Zoobie show on the world famous LAR.com, 927LAR.com, and YouTube. I am John Kalaboukas, the Bouk, with my friend Paul Zubulake, Zoobie, and special guest, Dr. Father K. I was ready to say Dr. K. Father K. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for having me back again.
Well, maybe he has some advice. Maybe he could be a doctor, John. You never know. Welcome, Father K. We're so happy you're back this year and your debut on YouTube.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very excited. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, and John, what is this? This is our NFL preview show. And we're going to talk about who we think is going to do well this year and all the side stories, which, of course, are many, John. And I did represent this year, brought a little prop, the only jersey I've ever purchased in my life, number 40. And maybe we'll have a quiz later. People could figure out who the number 40 I'm wearing.
40.
So anyway, so again, Father, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Paul.
And last year, Father K was very, very accurate, if you remember, Paul, about his Dolphins and about quite a few teams. And I'm very interested in hearing his opinions on what's going to happen this year. But let's start off with.
I have a little story about that. Funny you should say that. So a few days ago, I had a friend who came over casually, and he's very much into a younger man. He's like 30 years old, and he was he's very into those, the fantasy football. So I mean, I don't know about you gentlemen, but when I was younger, that never existed. I don't really understand it. I don't know how it works. But he's into it. And one thing he said to me, he said, just for fun, he said, Father, I just want to, I have week one, the spread of, of every team, of every game that's happening this weekend. So without me knowing, he says, what do you think the spread is against, let's say, Miami and Jacksonville, who's playing the week one, right? So he went through every game. And I have to tell you, over 60%, I hit the spread exactly, and I never missed the spread more than a half a point. So if I said, let's say 2.5, it was 3, or sometimes it was 3 and it was 2.5. But he was so amazed that he says, you should get a job in Vegas putting the point spreads together. So I thought that was very, very funny. So I thought I'd bring it up about when you mentioned the accuracy. I mean,
no, that's big time business and setting spreads. That's a great job.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good. Because we actually,
it's something I don't think a priest should be doing. But
yeah. Well, last week, Father, we talked quickly about the Jet 49er spread only being, and this was last week. We're taping actually on Wednesday this week, Wednesday the 4th of September. Mm-hmm. Last week was Tuesday, so it's a little more than a week. And the Jets were 3.5-point underdogs, which we actually thought was pretty interesting. Like on a neutral field, that's basically a pick 'em. Now, John, I believe it's at least up to 4.5, as the 49ers have done some house cleaning, let's put it that way. So we'll get to the 49er Jet game, but we do want to start with the Dolphins and Father K. But Father, before you talk about 2024, I want you to talk about last season, because we haven't spoken since then. Yes. And what were your impressions and the way the season ended? Miami at Kansas City in probably the coldest game since the Ice Bowl on Peacock, no less. So I have to hear the stories about what you thought about the season, and were you watching that last game?
Yes, I did watch the last game. So overall, I mean, I was really excited about how dynamic their offense was. It was something we hadn't seen in Miami in a very long time. And I think Mike McDaniel, with all the I don't know if you want to call it, the tricks that he pulls out, and having such a fast team, and So I was very happy about that. The narrative that I see sometimes on the NFL commentators about the Dolphins, except for maybe one or two, I I think most of them get it wrong because they put a lot of the blame on Tua, and Tua seems to be a very very dividing person, like in the NFL, more so than I think than hardly any other quarterback. Either you like Tua, there's like the ones who love Tua, or the ones who really really hate Tua. And the whole narrative about they can't beat the teams that have a winning record. They beat up on the teams that have a losing record, and it was very disappointing as towards the end of the year, them falling apart. But I don't think that was only Tua's problem, because I think the commentator, his name is Riddick. I forgot his first name.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
the ESPN guy. Yeah,
yeah, he's an
Lewis
ESPN,
Lewis
ESPN
Riddick.
guy. Yeah, he had it right, because he was saying you're constantly, when there was of course all these shows about should Tua have gotten his money or not get his money, and the way they paid him, and should he have gotten paid what he got. And Riddick pointed out, he says, you talk about how the Dolphins fell apart towards the end of the year, but what they don't talk about is that their offensive line was decimated in the second half of the year. Their center, Connor Williams, he was a guard that they took from Dallas that became a great center, done. So you had to move a guard to play center. And then you had all these, Armstead gone. So their best tackle. So you had all these guys, and I think in the last 5 games of the season, they had 5 or 6 different configurations of offensive line. Like almost every game, they tried different people at different positions at offensive line. So yes, you can put all the blame on Tua, but you're only as good as your offensive line, as you well know. And since you mentioned about the Kansas City game, they talk about, well, the Dolphins can't win in cold weather. Well, I would remind people that the Dolphins almost beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo with Skylar Thompson as their quarterback when Tua was hurt. Not last year, the year before. They were in the playoffs and they lost by 3 points in Buffalo in the snow.
That was an ugly game.
Yeah, in the snow. I think it was like 33-30 or something like that. And so, I don't like that narrative either, because they play in Miami, they can't beat the cold weather teams. I don't like that narrative. Having said that, I really think that the NFL should have delayed that game or played in a different game. And evidence showed it, right? People died from that game, from frostbite. I mean, I think 4 people died from frostbite in that game. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
people lost toes, and
yeah,
there was that crazy story where the fans, they were, I don't know what happened with that story. The guys froze outside.
yeah,
So,
yeah. A couple of people died.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my take on it. I did enjoy the offense, the way they played. Defense, against, we had injuries. One of them went down in that the game in the Giants, right? We lost Jalen Phillips to
Yeah,
that game. Then Chubb went out for the year. So you have like 2 of their best pass rushers gone um, towards the latter part of the season. These are big setbacks for your team, and how you're supposed to continue doing well when you have these setbacks.
okay, that's fair. I mean, they definitely took some injuries. I mean, being Jet fans and hearing about configuration of offensive linemen, I think the Jets set the world record last year. So,
Yeah, yeah, I
for
agree.
that statistic. So overall, you were happy with the season. So, all right,
Was. I was. I mean,
let's
disappointed as any fan would be that it was one and done in the playoffs. But yeah,
Okay, so what do you think about 2024, and who are you looking at? I mean, I'll throw something out quick, is that the loss of Christian Wilkins,
well, I was going to say.
not only from a performance perspective, but from a leadership perspective. So
Yeah,
let's hear
I
what
agree.
Austin.
I was very disappointed. I love Christian Wilkins. The fan base loved Christian Wilkins. He was such a great Dolphin. He loved being there. It's just it's a money game, as you know. Like the NFL is not like what it was when we were growing up, and he tried free agency, and listen, he got a ton of money from the Raiders. So when you ask me about this season, yeah, I'm excited about certain players. We got that very good running back. It seems like we have our running back room is really good. We got that guy Wright, who's very very fast, and Malik Washington, this receiver, who's great with kick returns. But you look already at the Dolphins. If you saw their injury report, it came out later, just a few hours ago, actually. 13 players on the injury report.
Wow.
Jacksonville has one
Wow.
in week one. 13 players, and they're riddled with injuries. And I'm wondering what's going on with their trainers. I mean, I don't know what the situation is over there. But the 2024, getting back to your question, 2024 Dolphins. Yes, I'm still excited about Tariq, and Waddle and all of the fast things that the Dolphins can bring. But there are certain concerns that I still have. All Dolphin fans, and this I think is a Chris Greer problem, the manager of the Dolphins. For years now, the last 5 years, we've been saying you got to do something about the offensive line. You have to do something about and Chris Greer seems like he's oblivious to that. He didn't draft really anybody in the offensive line in the early rounds. He didn't really trade for anybody in the offensive line. So it's almost like how does Tua is one of the fastest release, right? 2.5 seconds, I think he takes to fastest in the NFL. The offensive line of the Dolphins last year was 31st and 30th. So you're not going to go far in the playoffs because when you play good teams, those defenses are really good and they're going to get to your quarterback or they're going to disturb your quarterback. So the offensive line, Connor Williams at center that I was talking about, but he's gone. He's now in Seattle.
Right.
And Robert Hunt, who was the right guard, he's gone. He's in another team right now. So how did we address those issues? We really haven't. And then you pointed out, Paul, the defensive line. Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, they're both gone. They were basically the center of that defense. And you said what a great leader Christian Wilkins is. Yeah, we got Kalai Campbell, if I'm saying the guy's name.
Calais Campbell. Yeah, he's old.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's old, right? He's now in that middle. That's our answer to Christian Wilkins. So I really think that on the defensive line and on the offensive line, we took a step back from last year. Having said that, I still think that they're going to be exciting. I still think they're going to, fight for the AFC East. I think that Buffalo's actually taken a further step back than the Dolphins have, and we can talk about that. But that's my take on the Dolphins.
A great rundown. So, we'll definitely get to that AFC battle and the over-unders tie into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, Father.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about your coach?
McDaniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this because some people think that he's just like all gimmicks and that he's not really a good coach. I don't agree with that. I think that he is a very good coach. I think it's the kind of coaches that are coming in the NFL now, right? The Shanahans, the McDaniels, and the McVays, and these people. That's why Belichick, I think, really didn't get a job. I think the problem, Belichick only got one interview, and that was with the Atlanta Falcons, and he went a different route. Yeah. And if you look at the Belichick tree, they haven't been doing well because you can't coach in the NFL like you're Tom Landry, where you can just yell at these players and intimidate the players. Yeah, it worked with Belichick, but Belichick had Tom Brady, and my argument would be, what's Belichick's record without Tom Brady? And it's a losing record. And I think, what is he, 73 or 74? So a lot of people think, well, he's going to come back next year because he wants to break Shula's record. Perhaps, and if people want to hire him, he probably will eventually. I mean, records are meant to be broken, but he's old enough. But I don't know if that type of coach is the kind of coaches that you want in the NFL or the NFL needs right now. I don't know if the needs is the right word, but it'll be effective in the NFL right now. I think the McDaniel and the Shanahan model, those are the kind of people you need. People are going to be innovative and people who know how to get the most out of the talent that they have. And that's the whole thing that happened, recently when you saw about Tua talking about Flores, and that whole situation.
That was going to be my next question to you.
Right.
What do you think about Tua bad mouthing?
I was very happy that he came out with it because because Flores is a great defensive coordinator, and he's the defensive guy now. He's still with the linebacker coach for Minnesota, I think. So but he's from that Belichick tree, right? So he came in, a young quarterback just out of college, not the quarterback that he wanted, right? And which is fine because he wanted Herbert, and objectively, maybe I wanted Herbert too. He looks more of a quarterback. He's more, he doesn't have the injury issues that Tua has. But still, okay, so you have Tua. So what do? You tell a young kid right out of college that you're no good. We should have drafted the other guy. You suck. You don't help a person's confidence and help a person's growth, especially quarterbacks, because quarterback is very, very fragile when it comes to these things. And he wasn't good with that. So, like, anytime Tua was constantly afraid to look over his shoulder. He had a bad throw, he's going to be benched for Fitzpatrick. So these kind of things affected him to the point where Tua even admitted. He said, I was questioning whether I even want to play football anymore. He was the last person in the building and the first one to leave when Flores was there. And now he says he's the first one and the last one to leave. So I think McDaniel made a huge difference. And like you remember when he came to Miami, that he's on the plane and he's talking to Tua on the phone and he's saying, "You're my guy. We're going to do great things together. I'm going to coach the heck out of you." And I think that's been a great marriage. And you see it. Like he's been improving every year since he's been there. And if you say like, well, yeah, but Tua now has Tyreek and he has Waddle. Okay, I understand that. But who did he have when Flores was there? Devontae, what's his name, Parker that we had? That was his number one, and he went down as an injury. And there were like second and third string receivers that had no separation, so Tua couldn't really get to them. So I think it was valid from Tua. It's a little unfortunate that it's aired out like that, but Flores was very much of a gentleman in his response. He said, he really almost was apologetic and said that he wants to do better. Basically, I think he's doing that because he wants a job in the future as a head coach. So yeah,
So you're happy with McDaniel?
I am. I'm sensing that you're not. You don't think that he's
No,
good.
no. I mean, I don't have that much of an opinion on him. Uh, I
What's your
did
thought,
see,
Paul?
I did see something that whether it's going to affect him or not as coach, but he seems to have like Miami-ized himself. Have you seen him lately? Last year he looked with
You
his
talking about the
look.
way he dresses personally?
That yeah, the way he looked. He
Well, he
last
had
year
the short
he had
pants.
like
He
a
had the
Pee
short
Wee
pants.
Herman type of haircut and look. Now you see him. Someone must have gotten to him in Miami because now he has a whole new hairdo. He's looking like a Cuban model down there. I said, I don't
Well,
know.
listen, I guess places like Miami or Los Angeles are kind of.
We'll see. I don't know the Miami nightlife. I don't know if they got to him.
Well,
Well,
well, John,
I don't think it's going to affect his coaching, though.
but
I don't know. What's your thoughts, Paul?
no, we just got to point out his wardrobe. He was wearing those very short pants, right? Male kulaks, we'll call
Yeah,
them. So yeah, the old school is not liking that look.
yeah,
Personally, I think he's a good coach,
yeah,
and it's great to see an offensive mind.
yeah.
But he's like anybody else in the league, right? It's a results business, and until
Right,
he wins the big one or gets to the AFC Championship
right.
game, people are going to beat down on him.
Right.
Um, so I look at our coach, and we'll do a minor move over to the Jets, Father, and we're definitely very interested to hear your opinion because we need an honest opinion.
Yeah.
And I know last year you were high on him, and obviously I don't. I guess the first question I have about the Jets in regards to last year, Father, is did you think about Bouk and Zoobie when Aaron Rodgers went down after 4 plays?
I did. I did because I think I mentioned it to you, right? I think that I said one of the biggest problems with the Jets is they have like this messiah complex where they think that this person is going to come and everything is going to become great. They did it with Favre. They did it with Sanchez. They did it with all these guys that this is it. We're going to the Super Bowl, and it didn't turn out that way. And the issue, I think, and I don't know if we want to get into this right now, with Aaron Rodgers is I think. Listen, I believe that Brady was an outlier, right? Definitely. I mean, there's not many men, football players, who could do what he did at the age that he became. And I
Yep.
think that when you start comparing Rodgers to Brady, well, Brady did it, Rodgers can do it also. I don't think that that's true. I think that Rodgers is on the older side of 40 than the way Brady was at 40.
Right.
So if you noticed, even before the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, um, the first four or five games with Green Bay, what were they, 1-4? They were not doing well, right? When he was still even with Green Bay.
You're talking about the year before.
Yeah, the year
Yes.
before, the year before the Jets got him.
Right. He struggled. He did struggle.
He
Yeah.
struggled, and then towards the end of the year, he kind of picked it up, but he
Right.
struggled for a while. And he does have the Achilles. And is he a good quarterback? He's a smart quarterback, yes. But uh, one of the problems I think that Rodgers has with the Jets is that, and it's not only me who's saying this, a lot of people have been saying this, is that it's basically Rodgers' team. Like Salah has really no control over Rodgers. And whatever Rodgers missed that mandatory practice, he was in where he went to Egypt or something.
Right.
Any other player, any other person in the world would have been, put on the carpet. What are you doing? It's Aaron Rodgers. So basically, in that moment, it showed that Salah doesn't have the power. Rodgers has the power of that team, and it even showed when they got him. Right? He wanted certain players, Rodgers, that were questionable. Even the questionable offensive coordinator, he got him.
Yep.
And even though I don't think Salah may have wanted them, it didn't matter. Rodgers wanted them. So I think when you have that kind of dynamic, it could be very toxic. And I think that as high up as Jet fans are for this season, and it could be a very good year for them if Rodgers stays healthy.
Mhm.
But I think there's on paper the Jets look very, very good, but it's not played
And,
on paper.
and by the way, Paul, Father K is not a regular listener, so he doesn't know how much we've been trashing Salah this entire time.
Yeah,
That
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. So I don't
he
know.
he hasn't really listened to us, and and we've been saying it all along. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's a glorified cheerleader. That's all.
Now listen,
And all of a sudden, he wants to get involved with everything this year. It's a little bit too late. He should have been involved the past several years.
Salah comes from the Shanahan tree also, right? He was out there with the
Sure.
49ers, wasn't he? And
Yeah, of
as
course.
well as McDaniel. But I think and again, I think with the way the NFL is right now, you need like you said it before with McDaniel, you need an offensive minded person. Yeah, in the past you say defense uh, wins Super Bowls, but the way it is now, where you protect the quarterback and they want the schemes that exist, you need an offensive minded person. You need an offensive minded person. You need look at the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs have a good defense. They don't have the greatest defense. You can score on the Chiefs. The thing is, it's their offense. It's basically, it's basically Mahomes, and just the way Brady was. It doesn't matter who the receivers are, because he'll find somebody open. It doesn't matter if he throws three interceptions, because you see Mahomes throw three interceptions in a game. If that was Tua, forget it. They'd be asking for his head. But if it's Mahomes, he could throw three interceptions. You know why? Because he's going to throw 4 or 5 touchdown passes. And it doesn't matter who that it's a big name receiver. He'll find them because he'll scramble enough. He'll find that person. So you need offensive minded people, and Salah is a defensive minded person. And I don't think defensive minded coaches do well in the NFL today. My
All
opinion.
right. Well, that's some great feedback. But just so you know, John and I are far from Jet fans who get way ahead of their skis, as the old saying goes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, to me personally, Father, I don't know how anybody can know how the Jets are going to be this year because we haven't seen them. They have
Right.
they have decided not to play anyone. This is not just Aaron Rodgers not playing. They haven't played anyone in the
Oh, I didn't
preseason.
know that. They didn't play any of the starters for any of the preseason games?
Basically zero.
Yeah.
There wasn't one known player playing any meaningful snaps in any preseason game. And when that works, you're going to be a genius. But if it doesn't work, especially on a very tough road opener in San Francisco, which now we'll just get to that game. We'll talk about the Jets 49ers, and we'll definitely talk some Jags Miami, Father, and then we'll get into our picks. But there has been some huge news this week, right, John? So I don't know where you want to start on the Jets side of this, and we'll ask the Father, of course, his opinion, or do you want to start on the 49ers side of the equation? Where do you want to go?
Let's go Jets.
You want to go Jets. So there's something going on, Father, with the Jets that they have decided that they are going to be the only team in the NFL to not have all of their players ready for week one, as it's becoming very apparent, unless some miracle is going to happen in the next 24 hours, that Hassan Reddick, their huge offseason pickup, will not play week one. So what's your thought about the Jets, who are an all-in franchise here in 2024, not getting this deal done at the inception of trade and now letting it become a potential distraction? Not to mention, if they don't get to the quarterback against the 49ers this week, the fans are going to go crazy. So what's your view on the holdout of Hassan Reddick?
So, Paul, I was talking to John a little bit about it before we went on the air today, and I was saying that it's horrible what the Jets organization. Reddick is. I can understand. Listen, people want their money, and it's the NFL, and they want to get paid. Remember when Tua was saying the market is the market, right? When
Right.
it was for his turn to. It wasn't that he's like the greatest quarterback, but the market is the market. And Reddick is a high-end player, great player from Philly, and he wants his money. Now, you can deny him that and not want to and play hardball with him, but then like it goes to what you're saying, it could really affect your season. If you don't have that pass rush, and he's the main person that they picked up in order to have a great pass rush, and now you're leaving it not there. And I know you want to talk about the 49ers next, but I'm going to bring them in right now, is that a week ago, the 49ers looked like they were going to fall apart.
Right.
We talked about the 49ers a week ago, they're falling apart. And what happens? We're here, like you said, we're broadcasting this on Wednesday. Their tackle Trent Williams signed.
Brandon
The
Ayuk.
Ayuk signed, right? And all these guys signed, all taken care of. And not only that, they're also psyched because they want to play for, their player who got shot and is in the hospital, their rookie.
Right.
You see the culture. They're psyched. They're like so united now as a team, that they're ready to go and they're psyched. And that was just a week ago when looked like they were falling apart.
And
So
another
the
quick.
Jets should have gotten this done. I mean, I don't know what the front office. Listen, either make some kind of deal with them. Say, listen, we'll give you money up front. We'll talk about it. Do something like that.
Yeah.
Listen, the Dolphins had to do something too. Tyreek wanted more money, right?
Yeah.
Tyreek wanted more money. So what did they do? They restructured his contract because they wanted to make him happy. Because you can't have, how good are the Dolphins without Tyreek Hill? I mean, come on. So you have to, when you have great players like that, and Riddick is a great player. At least he was. I mean, in Philly, you got to pay him. You got to pay him. You can't allow the season to start and have the. Do you remember that? Remember the Kansas City player, the defensive end? Was it Jones?
Yeah, Chris Jones. It happened last year.
He sat out the whole preseason. They even started the season without him, and he was just sitting in the stands. The defense was struggling, right? And you
Yep.
know what they did? They paid him, and all of a sudden he became like a sack leader that year. So
I'm so yes, we've been talking about this, and from the trade when it happened, Father. So, John, right? I'm on the record joking that Hassan, you're not going to get a long-term deal
He's
from the
been saying
Jets,
it all
and
along.
that I knew, and never in a million years, like you said, it's just like they did with Hill, an enhancer based on incentives, because Joe Douglas doesn't even have next year, no less. They're not going to give him a 4 or 5 year deal, right? And it just see it actually happen, John. And Father, we do this thing, the rant of the week, which we usually have on our show, which we will not have today. But John, this is such it is a disaster because only the Jets can do something like this. I mean, you have to get this done at the inception of trade. You
exactly.
cannot let you put yourself in this bizarre spot where he is. The other point of this is he's going to play in 2024 because he has to. He has to get a certain amount of games to get the year, and then he's an unrestricted free agent, and unless they franchise tag him, which of course they won't, and he'll be on the squad, but maybe a very negative factor. I mean, how do you let yourselves fall into this trap? And all the young Jet fans who don't want to hear this stuff from us old Jet fans. And another thing, Father, I always talk about is the owner is, I nickname him Captain Chaos, Woody Johnson, because all these things continue to happen, John, under his management of the franchise. Come on, you got to admit it, folks. It's chaotic over there in Florham Park.
Who's the
And this
GM?
is,
Joe Douglas.
yeah,
Year six.
unfortunately, we have this drama. We always talk about what drama are the Jets going to have this year. Last year was Rodgers. I mean, there's always drama around this team. And Paul definitely called this one because he kept saying, you're not getting a long-term contract, Hassan. And everyone's saying, oh, yeah, no, he's going to get 3-4 years, no problem. He's been saying it from day one. And it's just, Paul, it's
You know what?
typical
No matter
Jets.
what,
Typical Jets.
if I can interrupt, no matter what Hassan says, because Hassan is the player, right? He has his agent. He's gonna try to shoot for the moon. No matter what he says, if you're the Jet organization, the other side, you got to get the deal done. You have to, even what he's
Yeah.
saying, like Ayuk said, right? At some point, no, it was Trent
No.
Williams said this. He said at some point we both have to wave the white flags.
Okay.
You want what you want, they want what they want. It's a negotiation, and at some point you both have to wave the white flag and accept, come to some kind of medium and some middle. And that's what they had to do with Hassan Reddick. I blame the Jets more than the player on this point.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
because the player is going to ask for the moon, want the moon, whatever. But his agent is going to say, listen, we can get this. If the Jets is constantly saying no, 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 then you're really putting the player in a corner and you say, you know what? I'm not playing. Play without me.
And
And
it's
that's
and his agent is taking the Chris Jones model from
right.
last year. It's
That's why I mentioned
exactly
Chris Jones. That's what I
right.
mentioned. That's
It's
why I
the
mentioned.
same playbook. All right, you miss all of training camp. You're 30 years old. Who cares?
Right.
You're unrestricted free agent next year. You're going to cash in. Somebody will pay him. And you know that if they go out to San Francisco, already a tough place, this is a tough matchup on Monday night. Now that they have all their players back, and we should also mention Christian McCaffrey, who pulled his or hurt his calf early in
He's
camp,
back.
is practicing back. That you are the old buzzsaw. You're going into the buzzsaw. And another thing I've been saying is that I wouldn't be remotely surprised if the Jets lay a huge egg on week 1 because of the overconfidence. And that's how we're looking at the same exact situation. If the Jets lose and can't get to the quarterback, Hassan Reddick is going to be happy that happens.
Of course.
So that's all his leverage. If the Jets win this game, John, Hassan Reddick's leverage.
Right.
That's right.
My question to you guys is, because again, I don't follow the Jets like I follow the Dolphins, is how does their offensive line look? The one who's going to be protecting Aaron Rodgers.
I'll take that one. I mean,
Yeah.
Father K, this offensive line is the best offensive line the Jets have had since the 2009, 2010 teams, right?
And you're all healthy.
They're healthy right now. They have not played. So we've got Tyron Smith from Dallas, free agent. Obviously a top player if he's healthy, right?
Yes, yes.
Left guard, they signed John Simpson from the Ravens, played all last year, started every
Very
game.
good.
Large guy, very big. They got their second round pick from last year, the center. And then at right guard, they have Elijah Vera Tucker coming off back-to-back years of injury, ex number one pick. Joe Tittman's the center. His name popped out of my head for a second. And then at right tackle, they reacquired a guy, Morgan Moses, from the Ravens, who both him and Simpson basically started almost every game. Unfortunately, Moses had like off-season surgery on his, was it tricep, bicep? I'm not sure what it was, shoulder, John. I can't even remember. So they got two old tackles, and then they drafted Olu Fashanu from Penn State in round one as their insurance at tackle. So this is their best line they've had. But everybody on this line has their issues regarding age and injury. Obviously, and Simpson and Tittman just haven't been in the league long enough to maybe have those injuries. So this team they have a quality team. They're a little weak at wide receiver. I don't like the depth there. I'm definitely worried about Mike Williams, who they got from the Chargers. Will he play? He's going to play, but it's going to be kind of a pitch count. I don't know if that's good enough. So, John, I don't know what you're thinking if you want to get into that right now about what do you think the Jets are going to do next week, but it's worth us making some picks. I guess we should start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried about them, as always. I actually forgot to mention that I actually finished the Aaron Rodgers book. I went through it pretty quickly. Yes, nothing unusual. We know all of these stories. Father, there's a new book out about Aaron Rodgers. It's considered an unauthorized biography by Ian O'Connor. But he actually was able to go through all the facts, and the author actually showed him everything he was putting in the book. And he says, look, it's all accurate. It's all factual. Nothing, Paul, it's nothing that we haven't already known about Aaron Rodgers. Actually, this game may be closer than we think, because obviously he's from California. He always thought that he was going to get drafted by the 49ers when he first came out. So he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder about playing the 49ers. So I think it's going to be closer than we think.
I'm not saying.
I still think they're going to lose.
Right.
But I think it'll be a close game.
I mean, I can't make a prediction about the Jets because I have not seen this team on the field. So I think it could go any which way. I mean, me being an old-time Jet fan, again, would I be remotely surprised to have a disappointing start? Of course not. So, I mean, prediction-wise, I wouldn't touch this game in a million years because I have no idea how the Jets are going to play. They didn't even play their second, third-year players they have on defense. They barely played some of these guys. It's really amazing what they've done, but they have a quality roster. They really do. And we'll get into, if you want to jump right into the under-overs for the Dolphins and the Jets, John, before we pick our AFC, NFC teams, or you got something else you want to talk about?
No, just one thing. I'm not as worried about the receivers as you are. I think as much as I criticized Lazard last year being, stone hands, I think he's going to bounce back, having Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. I'm pretty confident. Actually, I like the running game very much this year, and I like the receivers. I don't think we're going to have that much of a problem. I don't think so.
All right. Well, we definitely love our running game, Father. So we got this kid Braylon Allen that they drafted.
We do too.
Yeah, that's the strength of the Dolphins, obviously. Running backs, receivers, and their quarterback's solid. Good coaching. So yeah, so I did go through. This is the up-to-date under-overs on these two teams. We're going to go there. We're not going to do all the under-overs, but for these two
Okay.
teams, we are. So John, I'm going to let you go first, and then we'll have Father go, and I'll go last. We'll do the Jets first. So we'll go in that order, and then we'll reverse it. So John, the Jets number is 10.5. Under over.
I'm Mr. Optimistic.
You going over?
I am going over. I'm going to say, I said it last year. I was off by 4. I hope I'm not off by 4 again. I'm thinking 11 wins for them.
All right. So he's going over. Father, Jets 10.5.
Under.
Under. Okay. And John, I'm going with Father K. I'm going under 10.5. Now I'm thinking 10 or 9, but I'm going under 10.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about 9 or 10 wins, not 10.5. 10.5 means you got to win 11. So
You got to win 11. Exactly. All right. So I'll go first with the Dolphins, and we'll rotate Father K next. The Dolphins number, Father K, is 9.5. And I'm going under with the Dolphins at 9.5. Father?
I'm going over with that. I think that I'm optimistic, but I really think that they still have like a very dynamic team. So you're saying that the Dolphins are they're going to regress and have like an 8-8 kind of.
Oh well, we got 17 games too. Don't forget. So it's a little reachable. So 9-8. Yeah, 9-8, 8-9 for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to be a 5 or 6 win team.
No, I think they're going to be better than that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's what this is all about. John?
I am going to go under.
All right. Wow.
Spoken like a
Good for you, Father. Very good.
Spoken like a
Actually, I'm going under for 2 reasons. One, I don't think that they're gonna match what they did last year, but I'm taking off a little bit because of the Hollywood or the Miami look of your coach.
This is like McDaniel for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm going to give a reason too, because last year we
I'm
made
joking around, obviously, but
we made predictions, and I like to take some teams that are expected to do well and say they're going to be negative. And Father, honestly, regardless of you being on the show, I was looking at the list, and I'm like, I think the Dolphins are going to be one of those teams. Because the loss of Christian Wilkins, I just think that's
I agree with you about that.
Loss. I think it's a huge loss.
Yeah.
Who knows? Only time will tell.
Right.
All right. So those are the.
What's actually? I'm curious. What's the line for the Giants?
It's funny. It's actually was 6.5.
Wow.
Because I think last week I thought it would be 7.5. So
Wow.
yeah, we could do the Giants.
I would go over the Giants.
Giants, yeah. Last year they burnt me on the over, John. I said it was a lock over, and they were a disaster. I don't know. 6.5 is pathetic, right? I mean, they win 7 and they go 7-10, and I lose my bet.
I say over. I say over for the Giants.
You going over?
I don't know. They don't have a great team, but I don't know.
I don't know. I'm worried, but I don't think they're going to be that bad. That's a begrudging over for me. I'm right on that. That's a tough one because I would have gone 7.5. If it was 7.5, I would have gone under definitely. But I'll go over. Father, you should be very happy that we both went Miami under. That is a good sign. Not that we're bad with our picks, but when you have Jet fans doing that to you, I'd be thrilled. So, and you did go under on the Jets, so you have a lot more credibility than us, I guess.
Yes, he does.
All right, John. So we said we were going to pick our 7 playoff teams from each conference, and then we're going to give our conference champions. And if anybody wants to give a Super Bowl pick this early, go for it. It's not mandatory on the Bouk and Zoobie show. So I don't know anybody want to volunteer to go first. I will do it if you want. We flip flop with the conferences. Who wants to go first? Maybe we'll do the NFC first and get them out of the way. John, you want to start the NFC, or you need more time?
All right. I'll try the NFC. So
all right, go. Give us our 7. Make sure you got 4 division winners.
Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers.
Who wins? Yeah, but who wins the NFC East?
Oh, NFC East, Cowboys.
Okay.
NFC West, obviously it's going to be the 49ers, and I actually think Rams but I think the winner there is the 49ers. The NFC South is, we thought they were so awful last year. I'm going to go with the Bucks as the leader there. I don't know if anyone else is going to. I'm trying to remember now. No, I'll just go with the Bucks. I don't think
All right.
anyone else is going to come out of there.
Two more.
And NFC North, definitely the Lions, and definitely the Packers. And the Lions
Wow.
will be the Lions will be the North
All right.
winner.
Well, Father, I'm going to go because I'm very similar to John. Hopefully, you're a little different because I don't actually, John, this is scary. The only difference is I have the Bears in over the Rams. So Falcons, Lions, Packers, Dallas winning the division. That's fine. That's a coin flip. I can go either way. And 49ers. So not too much imagination there. So one difference. What do you got, Father?
Very similar to you guys. I have the Cowboys winning the East. I was thinking about maybe the Eagles, but I still think that the Cowboys are going to win, even though they still don't have a deal with Dak Prescott. 49ers winning the West. I got the Lions winning the North, and I have the Falcons winning the South, only because you got Kirk Cousins there now, and so I'm thinking that they're going to be a better team. And then the wild card for them, I have the Packers, the Eagles, and the Rams for the wild
Wow.
card teams.
So you were identical with John.
Yeah, and if you want to go, I got the NFC Championship as 49ers Lions. And listen, I'm telling you things that are wishful thinking, but it's not out of the realm of possibility here. And I'm hoping here that the Lions are going to win and go into the Super Bowl. Could the 49ers win? Absolutely. But, it is
All
a
right.
realm of possibility that the Lions going to do a little bit better and be in the Super Bowl.
So you got
And
49ers. I didn't. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So
I got
I
49ers Lions at the NFC Championship game, and the Lions going to the Super Bowl.
anyway. But since I'm an AFC guy, I'm not even going to pick a Super Bowl team yet. So John, do you want to throw one out there?
Well, I mean, I'm going. Listen, I stuck with the Lions. I was a little, during that game. Paul,
He hasn't gotten over that.
he received a million texts from me. First I was bragging, then I was happy, and then I was just, what happened here?
Well, listen, they had a good year.
The Lions really should be going to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to predict that they're going to the Super Bowl this year
Like I
All
did.
right.
out of the NFC. Yeah, I had them last year, and
Although
they had one.
I got to say something that Paul mentioned. I do like, because I've been watching some of the Hard Knocks. I do like the Chicago Bears. I do like the kid Caleb Williams. I think he's a good quarterback. I think the Bears are going to be up and coming. I don't have them in any of my teams going into this out of the 7, but I do like them now.
Well, I went with the three teams in the North, Packers included, with the Bears and the Lions. But who knows? All right, so let's do AFC. I'll go first, and then we'll let the Father go. And John, you can clean up on that. All right, so my teams are: I got Kansas City winning the West. I got Baltimore winning the North.
Yeah.
I begrudgingly have Buffalo still winning the East.
Wow.
And I've got Houston winning the South. And I've got my wild cards are Cincinnati, who I actually predicted they would not make it last year. So I'm back with Cincinnati, John. The Jets and the Indianapolis Colts. And I have left the Dolphins and the Browns on the outside looking in, and the Chargers, who are getting some. A lot of people are excited about the Chargers with Harbaugh's coach, just so you know from the numbers. So that's my spot, and I am not going to pick an AFC Championship game, John. I am
Okay.
not
Oh,
gonna,
wow.
'cause I don't want to be wrong.
Very similar to you. I mean, you're consistent with on your over and under with the Dolphins about leaving them out of the
Sure.
thing. Because if you think that they're going to be under 9, then they wouldn't make the playoffs. So
Under 9.5.
again, 9.5, right?
Get
So
a win it done. Yes.
again, being a Dolphin fan, I really think that the Bills took a step back. I think Diggs not being there, Stephon Diggs. I think that the Bills. Chances of really making it is really behind them a little bit now. They also lost Matt Milano again
Yeah.
for a
No.
long time, and
Good
they
point.
don't have Stephon Diggs. So I don't have them winning the East this year. I do think that maybe this is I was a toss up actually between the Jets and the Dolphins this year, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins only because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy for all 17 games. I just don't. I think coming back from an Achilles injury is going to make him not that mobile in the pocket, and when you're not a mobile quarterback in the pocket, and he's he's going to be vulnerable. So I have the Dolphins winning the East. I have the Chiefs winning the West. I have the Ravens winning the North, and like you, Paul, I have the Texans winning the South. And then for my wild card teams, I do have the Bills, the Bengals, and the Browns. I do have the
Okay.
Browns in there.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Um,
different with the Jets and Indy between
yeah,
me. All right,
yeah,
John.
and I mean,
Oh,
I can tell you because I don't care, but the AFC Championship, I have the Chiefs Texans, and then of course I have the Chiefs going, and I have a Chiefs Lions Super Bowl. But this year, I think out of the Chiefs Lions, I'm picking the Lions to win it all. So I'm on
well,
record.
just a quick one before John goes. That's that guy, Peter Schrager. He's on like one
Oh
of the
yeah,
NFL.
I know Peter Schrager. Yeah,
Okay,
he used to be on
he
Good Morning
has
Football, right?
right. He has predicted the Super Bowl team, both teams, I believe, like the last 5 years.
Wow.
Incredible. So
Wow.
who am I? I'm like, I'm just go because I don't know who he picked. I could have been smart and just stole his picks and looked smart. So that's why I'm not even picking because I'm going to tell
That's
our
fine.
fans,
You
which
know
by the
who
way,
you don't know who he picked. You're saying.
I don't know because I didn't want to like be such a cheater. I'd be smart to use his picks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just want to tell the audience that that's the guy to go to if you really want to know, because it's an amazing streak the guy's on. So kudos to
That's
him.
great.
But
Wow.
also quickly before you go, John, we got to thank the audience, right? So we always appreciate everybody watching. Hopefully, Father K is going to be spreading the word throughout the friends and family network, and of course the church.
Yes.
Folks, YouTube.com. You can search the Bouk and Zoobie show. Bouk and Zoobie. Our names will be on the screen as you're watching. So hopefully people will be tuning in. Spotify.com is always. Please subscribe, like the episodes. The same thing with YouTube. If you have predictions out here, and this is good for your son's father, there's a comment section on the YouTube page. Have them go in there and make their predictions just like you did and see
Okay.
how you compare with your kids.
Okay.
You got to get them on the record, Father. Very important with picks because many people
I'll
fabricate their
let both of
picks.
them know. One is in Japan and the other one's in Croatia right now, but I'll let them know.
Well, great for them. But the good thing is because of the internet, you can
Yeah.
get
Yeah, of course.
YouTube.com in those countries. As
Right.
long as you're not in Brazil, right, John? I think you're able to get to the social
That's
and the NFL decides to have a game there. That's another story. But anyway, so we wanted to thank everybody. Please like the episode, subscribe, like I said. So sorry to interrupt your picks, John, but we always have to make sure. And of course, the world famous LIR.com, 927LIR.com.
Yeah. Uh, I am going to go with the Chiefs as AFC West. I'm actually putting the Chargers in the playoffs. I'm going with the Chargers. AFC North, Ravens. AFC East, Jets are going to win the division this year. AFC South, I'm going to go with the Jags. Texans, I think will go in the playoffs. What am I missing here?
Well, you
One
said
more?
one more. You got the Chargers and the Jags as the wild card. You need one more wild card team.
No,
I'm
you had
going
the
to go with
Jags as the division. You had Houston as your wild card. So you
yes,
need,
correct.
I think,
Bengals.
two
Bengals.
Bengals. Did you,
Yeah.
John? This is your picks, John. How many do you have? You have to have 7.
I have Chargers, Raiders.
Raiders.
You Raiders. You didn't say Raiders.
Chargers, Chiefs. I'm sorry. Chargers, Chiefs.
Okay, Raiders would have been okay.
Ravens, Bengals, Jets, Jaguars, Texans.
Okay, all right. There you go. The Bouk and Zoobie and
And
Father
my
Cake.
my AFC champ, Ravens.
Ravens. Okay.
Ravens against the Lions.
Okay,
in the
that's a
Super
good one.
Bowl.
I'm glad you're on. I'm going to put that. I'm going to write this down. We do go back and check, Father. So
Well, you're
we
going to
do check the
know almost
records.
immediately because tomorrow's Ravens Kansas City. So
What a game! What a
yeah,
game to open up.
yeah,
And we mentioned the Brazil Nightmare on Friday on
yes.
Peacock. And for the 20 people who are going to watch, have fun.
Not
The
only that,
players have been
but they're
told
telling,
not
they're
to leave
telling,
the hotel.
yeah, they're telling the players not to leave the hotel. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Amazing.
So anyway, that's another story. But one other thing before we kind of end this show, Father K, just wanted to ask you about the new kickoff rule because I think this is something we've been talking about the last few weeks, and the Dolphins with the speed that they have,
They definitely.
I am not kicking to your return, men,
Yeah,
Father. I am kicking it into the end zone.
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's definitely helps people who are fast and have fast players on the team, and I think all the kickoffs. But you know what? That's doesn't that naturally happen now? They don't really want people to risk a return, so they kind of if you can boot it out of the end zone anyway.
Well, the whole thing is we've been talking about this is that they didn't make it punitive for touchbacks, right? It was the 25. They only made it the 30, which is not punitive enough. So they
Right.
want more returns because last year they only returned like 17 or 18% of the kicks, which is horrific. One of the most exciting plays in the NFL. So now they're creating this gimmick instead of just pushing the kickback to the 30 and just hope, they'll get more returns that way. They don't want the high-speed collisions. I expect the touchback fest opening week because like I said, if you lose a game because of special teams, week one I'm talking about, because it's going to happen, folks. There's going to be a team that's going to be dumb and kick it away and try to okay, we're going to tackle this guy inside the 15. And someone's going to break it, and someone's going to lose a game this week. So let's see if that happens.
You're reminding me of Ted Ginn Jr. against the Jets twice. I think it was in one game.
Please, we're trying to get over last year with at the end of the half with the Tim Boyle Hail Mary to what was it? Who caught that? I can't remember who was the D-back. Ran it back on the Jets at the halftime. We were laughing at that.
Oh, yes.
What was his name? He's a safety. He's a good player. I can't believe I can't remember.
Yeah. Javon Holland.
Holland, right.
Yeah.
To see that unravel, John, it was just so. What last year, Father, you can't even imagine. You should go back and watch some of our shows. I should go back too because the horror that we endured last year was really off the charts. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed because we're not going to talk, folks, until next Tuesday, and that means the Jets and the Dolphins will have played, and we won't close the show until we get your view on the Jaguar game, Father. So I'll check the betting line. And what's your thoughts on Week 1? Is the game in Miami or Jacksonville?
It's in Miami.
Okay, so it's a day game.
It's a day game.
Oh my God.
But the Jaguars play in the heat too, right?
Right. No, I'm just talking about the fans. I went to
that's the only reason why I'm giving the edge to Miami. I think they'll be hyped for the first game. They're playing at home, and I think they'll win that game. My biggest concern is the following week, and I'm really upset that it's not a day game. They're playing the Bills in Miami, but it's a Thursday night game. So
that's pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not only that. It's the heat advantage that the Dolphins have is going to be taken away basically because it's a night game Thursday night in Miami. Anyway, so I think they'll beat the Jaguars, and I think the 49ers are going to beat the Jets. It's just so hard to beat the 49ers in San Francisco.
Well, and the Jets have, Paul and I spoke about it. The Jets have a horrific schedule. I mean, right off the bat, just the way they scheduled so many crazy quick games for them.
Yeah.
In a way, Father has a point about Aaron Rodgers, but at least this year we have a legitimate backup. At least we have Taylor. I mean, if you saw the whole parade we had at quarterbacks last year, I was ready to go in there.
If Aaron Rodgers goes down, It does not look good. I don't care who your backup is.
I'm with you, Father. You speak the truth. That's a great way to end the show. Jacksonville is underdog. Miami favored by 3. I will tell you quickly, I went to a game in Miami in September, day game. It is a survival as a fan to get through a game down there. I have a lot of respect for Dolphin fans just because of that. You can't even imagine the heat, John. It is beyond belief. So anyway, any last thoughts before we close?
What's your prediction in that game, Paul?
What was it?
What's your prediction in that game?
Oh, I will say that I'll say that the Jacksonville Jaguars will upset the Dolphins week 1.
Okay.
It fits the under with the Dolphins, so I have to go opening day because I'm not going to talk to you probably after that unless we have a midseason with Father Day, which we probably should.
What's the point spread on that?
3.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow. No, I think. Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I think the Dolphins are going to win that game and cover the spread.
All right. So, Father, you have any last thoughts?
I hate to say it.
Yes. Any last thoughts before we
No,
put this one in the
again,
books?
thank you very much to having me on. It's always enjoyable to talk Dolphins, Jets, and football with you guys. So thank you again for the invitation.
All right. Great.
Yeah, thank you. And again, we really appreciate you coming on and letting us know about the Dolphins, because there's some things you mentioned in there that, to tell you the truth, I didn't even think about what was going on with them. So, yeah, thank you for informing me and informing the audience, because, again, we have basically Giants and Jet fans. But as Jet fans, the Dolphins are always lurking with us, always lurking, no matter what decade. They're always there. They never go away. You guys never go away.
Unfortunately, we're 2 fan bases that haven't seen success in a very long time.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank
You
you.
got to thank John.
As always, again, thank you to Father K for coming on the show. And again, we would love to have you come back and somewhere mid-season and see how things are going. And again, thank you.
Talking football, because I'm not very good at some of the other sports.
We'll talk football. It's football time. It's football time. Again, thank you to our producer, Zach Zubulake, and to our loyal listeners. Keep the feedback coming. Also, thanks to our community partners, Ronald McDonald House, Kids in Seats, and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. See you next week.